Yesterday, we got the first 2 episodes of Wandavision on Disney+, and it's a very, very interesting show, to say the least. So let's get into it. Welcome to Silver Screen Talk. My name is Luke Lapointe. I started this channel because movies are a big part of my life, and I want to talk about them with people who care about them as much as I do. With that, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Most importantly, is we're talking about a big MCU release, the first MCU release in a year and a half. I want to hear you down in that comment section. Have you seen the first 2 episodes of WandaVision? What do you think of the show in general? You know, this is a very interesting and confusing show so far, so I want to hear your thoughts on it. Where do you agree and disagree with me? What are you looking forward to with the remaining 7 episodes of the show? And I have a lot to say about the show, so let's get into it. So yesterday, we got the first 2 episodes of WandaVision on Disney+, and leading up to that drop, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos of my favorite movie YouTubers who had seen the first few episodes, and the word that they kept coming back to, the word that kept resonating with me was different or unique, and I have to wholeheartedly agree with them. This is a huge departure from anything we've gotten in the MCU. It is very unique. It is very different. It's probably the most unique thing we've gotten from the MCU. You know, all the MCU movies and other properties, they tend to follow somewhat of a formula, so that lends to a bit of predictability. This follows no formula tied to the MCU, so that leads to like a good thing, because there is a lot of unpredictability with this show. We have no idea where it is heading, so it's going to be very interesting following along with this show, seeing what direction it takes, because we don't even know what direction it's going to take. I feel like the entire presence of the show in general lends to the possibility of maybe a multiverse, which if you're a Marvel fan, remember that word, multiverse. That's going to come into play in a big way in Phase 4 of the MCU. No doubt. They've already talked about with movies like Spider-Man 3. You know, multiverse is going to be huge in Phase 4 of the MCU. And I feel like the presence of the show, based off what happens in the Infinity Saga, leads to maybe a multiverse, or I don't even know how this whole thing is set up or what world this is in within the MCU. I'm very interested to see how that kind of ties into everything. And you know, watching this show, I got vibes to something similar to The Truman Show, where everything feels off. Like, you watch The Truman Show, it's a great movie, you haven't seen it, with Jim Carrey. He is basically in a simulation where everyone is watching him, and he doesn't know things are, you know, off, but we do. It just doesn't, you get weird vibes, nothing feels normal, and that's the same way I felt watching WandaVision. Even though it's like a 50s, 60s sitcom, those are usually weirder in general, more campy, it just felt really, really off. And I think even our characters felt that way in terms of Wanda and Vision. You know, little lines here and there where they don't really know where they are, like what situation they're in, why they're in a situation. But they talk about Vision at work, where he's at this computational company, and he's doing his work, he gets it done, he's productive, but he doesn't know why he's doing it or what they're doing. Or at dinner in the first episode, when Vision's boss asked Wanda and Vision all about their lives, where they came from, all that, they don't really know. So, and they're feels like in a weird situation where they might not even know what the hell's going on. So I'm very interested to see how that unfolds, and kind of if we lean more into that, figure things out as it goes along. You know, things maybe come back one way or another. Very interested to see how that turns out. And I do like, they have a lot of little references and hints with characters, names, little situations. They had the little ads, you know, in the episodes, whether it's like the Stark toaster, which I don't think really means anything, but the watch with the Hydra symbol on it, and Strucker, who kind of manifested Wanda's powers, you know, kind of trained her in that sense. It's interesting to see those little references, because it hints at what possibly is going to be going on and what's going to happen in future episodes. You know, who characters can turn into, or who characters can be revealed to be. It's interesting to see that, because this can go in a million different directions, I believe, and I think that the little references can take that in a million different directions. You can choose to expand on one or none of them, or, you know, it's just really interesting to see what references they're gonna, you know, bank on. I also think it's setting up for something really interesting with all the references, and you know, I don't really know what that's going to be. When I watched the trailer, it revealed everything and nothing at the same time, so I'm very interested to see what road that takes. It is also interesting and fun to see all the callbacks to the great sitcoms of the 50s and 60s, where you're talking about stuff like I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, The Dick Van Dyke Show, or Bewitched, stuff like that. It's very interesting to see a Marvel property in that setting. I think it leads to a little more mystery. It is great to see Wanda and Vision on screen again. I think they are two great characters who had a little bit of exploration in the Marvel movies, into their character, but not enough. So it is going to be interesting to see the dynamic between those two and how that unfolds in this weird situation. Now, before I get into the second half of my thoughts, I want to let you know, if you like this video and want to see more of my TV reviews, make sure to click up above to be taking that playlist. And now back to the video. Now, I don't really know where this is going, and it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, but 2 episodes was not enough for me. I don't like how this show is being released, where it's 2 episodes and then 1 a week. I honestly think in this setting, right now in this world with the pandemic, the binge is really becoming the big thing. So the hype would have stayed if you did a binge, if you just dropped the whole season, or just dropped 1 episode at a time. But getting 2 episodes, so you're really able to dig into something, but not enough. I'm not able to make an overall judgment on this show. Some people might be on board, some people might have jumped off. There's just not enough to be able to make a final judgment on what this show is going to be. You don't really know where it's going, because I feel like both episodes are almost like isolated episodes with little references, with little hints, but one's a 50s sitcom, one's a 60s sitcom, so you don't really know where this is going. I know they're going to do the decade hopping stuff, but I just don't really know. And I feel like in the 50s and 60s sitcom setting, there was a little fluff. There was a little bit of a boring aspect to it. It's not something that an MCU property usually follows, so I don't know how much they've nailed that. It's interesting. I don't know if that's intentional, but it was weird. It was weird. But like I said, this is not enough to make an overall judgment. I don't have a brain score or a heart score for this show yet, because I don't even know. I've seen 2 episodes, an hour worth of content. I don't know what judgment to make from this. It is very interesting. I am going to stay along. I do love the MCU, so I can't wait to see how this unfolds, but there's just not enough to make a final judgment. I hope you stay along, because I think this is going to rock our minds. It's going to blow our minds, kind of the way things unfold. I feel like there's going to be interesting twists and turns along the way. So definitely stay on board. Don't jump off the bandwagon, because I think something good is going to come out of this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to leave your comments down below, because this is a very interesting show that's tapping into a lot of interesting things and leaving us confused. So I want to hear what you have to think about this show. Thank you so much, and keep on loving movies as much as I do.